Welcome back to the channel. If you are diving into modern web application with Next.js, you have probably heard about its powerful routing system. In today's video, we are going to explore two game-changing features, Params and SearchParams. These tools allow you to build highly dynamic and interactive application without breaking a sweat. Whether you are building a blog, e-commerce site, or a dashboard, mastering this concept will take your project to the next level. By the end of this video, you will have a crystal clear understanding of how to use Param for dynamic route segment and SearchParams for handling query string in the URL. Plus, I will show you the practical example of how you can start implementing this feature right away in your project. So let's get started in projects. First of all, in the last video we have talking about the active links in navigation. Now, as we are talking about the navigation features in Next.js application, so we have two main topic which is also important in Next.js that is we call as param and param. So what are these parameters mean in Next.js application? So here, for a given URL, a param is a promise that resolves to an object containing the dynamic route parameter like ID. Like for example, you have an article ID 123 or any a dynamic ID which is have a particular ID in it. So when search param and the search parameter is basically used for the particular search element that contain a promise that result to an object containing the query. So in these both we will talk about in this video and also demonstrate a small example on this. So let's move on to the visual and start implementing these parent and param. Therefore, let's move on to the Visual Studio Code. You can see you have a blog page. I have already written on the home page we have the blog and the product page. Okay, and now below we have creating the two links, one for the reading English, another for the reading French. So let's start it. So we can type it at link. We can like here's the articles. We have articles and we have the breaking news dash 123. This is a query dynamic routing. This breaking news 123 is a dynamic routing, and after that we have a language equal to en, which is as a routing parameter in this, and the title would be read in English. Now we create another link for another link in this, and we have the different news ID for it. We have the different parameter, not en. It could be in French, which is we type it at FRN, so reading in French. We type it as French. Okay. Now we have building. Building this parameter. Now for this we have to create. So here I already told you that this is the dynamic routing. This is 123 is a dynamic routing, and after question mark it is a routing query parameter. Okay. Now let creating the route for this. So for this we have clicked on the app folder. Enter this, we can create an articles folder we have, and inside that we can create a new folder with the bracket as we have a article ID. So we can make the dynamic in this. So we can make it dynamic, and inside that we also create a new page ID, page txt, page.tsx. So we can create a page.tsx inside article ID. Page.tsx inside article ID. Okay. So now, let's create a function for it. So we can create a export default function and news article, and inside that we can return some content over here. We can return a div. Inside div we have h1 tag, which is showing the news article ID over here, and after that we have a paragraph of it, and in third paragraph we can write reading language. Okay. Currently we are making static. After that, when we implementing the params and parameter, we can making them dynamic. Okay. And after that, after this paragraph, we can have a div, another div. Inside this div, we have three links over here. So we can implement the link from href from the next application. We can type it href, and we have the articles article articles id plus language is equal to en, which is basically for English. And we have also we can also create two more links over here, one for the French, one for the Spanish. So for Spanish it is es, we can make it at Spanish over here. Okay, now we can make it for French below. After Spanish, for French we have fr. Okay, so these we have made these titles over here. Now let's move on to the browser and see how it will look like on the home page, and when we click, what we see on the browser. So let's move on to the browser. So here you can see that after in the blog page, in the home page, we have already built read in English and read in French. So when we click on read in English, you can see the query parameter over here inside. So when we click on English, so is there some any issue? Yes, it moved. Okay, it takes some time. So when we click on English, let's move on to the back. When we click on English, here you can see the articles / breaking news 1 to 3 language EA. Okay, and when we move back, when we click on English, here we are on the same page. Okay, and back now we are when we click on reading French, when here you can see the language we have the FR. So now we have to get the ID and the language in which we are reading. So for this, we have to get the parameter and the first parameter from the URL. So let's move on to the Visual Studio and try to get the params and SearchParams so that we can make the data dynamic on the news article page. Okay, now move on to the Visual Studio code. So let's now try to access the parameter first parameter over there, and we can update this particular ID on the UI and this ID and language on the UI in the article page. So for this, we can insert the news article. So we have the object as params, and we have the search params over here. Search params, which is of type inside this we have a params, which is promise of type param of article ID, which is of type string. And after that we have another ID of that is for the first params, which is of type promise, and inside this we have a language parameter and lang, which is of question mark, and in this we have en for the English, and we have Spanish for the es, and we have bar for the French fr. So we have declared this particular thing inside this. Okay, after that we enter the written state, enter this. We have the two we need to create a article ID. We destructure this article ID, which we get from the await from the parameter in the URL, because we get from there only itself. So await will not work, so we need to make a function async function. Okay, so now it will be working. Now another we have for the language parameter. We have constant keywords for language. So for language we have the default language as en. Okay, inside that we have await params, search params. Okay, now we have to update the ID and the language. So inside ID we can pass it as article ID over here, and for the language we can pass a language language variable. Now after that, as we already have the article and language, so we need to update the link in the link we have layer for 3 different languages. So let's update this. So for this we can create a backticks. In the backticks we have the articles, and in place of ID we can pass as $article ID, and we can give a backtick and close a brace over here, and we can copy this all over the link, and by changing the existing URL with the backticks, and by passing the dynamic ID. Okay, ES for the Spanish and FR for the French. So now you can see the article ID will be visible. Now let's move on to the browser and see how it's working on the home page. So here you can see that your ID on the article page has been changed with the breaking news 1 to 3. Here you can see the dynamic routing. Okay, dynamic ID which you are getting on this page now, and reading in ES, this for the language. Here you can see the English, and if you click on French, so here you can see the language is equal to FR and the reading is NFR. Okay, if you click on French, Spanish, sorry, it is for the ES, and here you can see reading in ES, and English for the English. So here you can see how you can access the dynamic routing and the query parameters in the Next.js application. And one more thing, to show you that this is the component on which we are working in the server component. What if we work on the client component? What we have to follow this? So for the client component, here we have if we are working on the client component, we have to declare, because in inside the client component your async function or wait doesn't work. I just let you know that here if you declare that use client over here inside your component and save it, so here you can see that use client will be seen over here. And now move on to the browser. Here you can see two issues over here. Here you will see that it is async client component. Only server component can be used async at the moment. Okay, so what we have to do is use in place. So let's just provide you a new hook which we called in React a use hook. Okay, so you have to implement that over there. That so how we can use that? We can import use from React. We can use from React. Okay, now in place of await, you need to remove the async function because it is not used on the client side. Now for the await, in place of wait you have to use the use, and you have to inside a curly braces you can pass a params over here, and that you have to do same with the first parameter. So this all will be work. Now you have to save it, and now you can run it. Now move on to the browser. Now here you can see you are on the client component using the parameter and the first parameter. Now it is here you can see that is here on the working 5 the French FR, and Spanish also working, and English. So here how you can use in the client component parameter and touch parameter, how you handle on the client component will be also shown with the help of use hook which we provided by the React itself. So I hope you can easily understand how you can manage the search parameter and parameter in the Next.js application. And that is for today's video. We covered how params help you to handle dynamic route and how search params make working with query string a breeze in Next.js team. These tools are powerful for building dynamic user-friendly apps, so go ahead and try them out in your project. If you have question to want to share how you are using this feature, drop a comment below. I will love to hear from you in this video. If this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell icon for more tutorials. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Happy coding. Thank you.